check it out. So, let me come clean. Let me come clean right this moment. And before 6ix9ine tells y'all to understand, I do not know the fucking secret Krabby Patty formula. I don't know it, bruh. Okay, now, here's the thing. All right, in a serious note. 6ix9ine had this conversation with me, and the only reason why I'm bringing up a conversation that we had personally, because honestly, we're seeing it in court. At one point, right before he got sentenced for the child sex case where he thought he was going to go away for like 4 years in prison, but he actually got probation, which ironically, later that day, there was a shootout after he got off and he got extra probation time. But the night before, he had called me. I was in Atlanta. I was chilling. And he said, yo, Ak, I do want to thank you. I know we do a lot of trolling. I know I cause a lot of problems. I know, listen, man, I'm a little of a headache, okay? But I do want to thank you because without you, I would not have a music career. You helped me when everybody else looked the other way. When everybody else wanted to give me a shot, you actually gave me a shot and you helped me. Forever, I'll be grateful for that. And it was a sincere moment because at that time, he was acting really odd to me. He just came back from Dubai. He had many different people who used to roll with him, not with him anymore. He was around a lot of new people, and he was acting like pretty much like the new people was the day ones. And I was like, what's going on? He dropped a lot of people. He's rolling with maybe yes men's now. Now, again, when he had that conversation, I knew that despite what was going on with him personally, and I didn't know everything. By the way, this was after the FBI raid and everything. I know, or I kind of figured out when he was basically thanking me and just having that sincere conversation of how scared he was to go to jail. And not scared in terms of jail, but he was saying he's at the height of his career, but it might be just over, right? I looked at it and I said, he hasn't changed that much. Now, again, he was going through a lot. He's getting paranoid, the FBI's raiding his stuff, this, that, and third happening. So I started asking him, I said, listen, that's completely understandable, and I know you're going through a lot of things. I can't begin to understand all the pressures from everybody else, whether it's your personal life, baby mama drama, cheating, this, that, and third, other little strippers who are claiming they got kids for you. Of course, you got the government, you're beefing with 25 rappers. Everybody wants a handout from you. You always have to try to keep it going on the social media. It's a lot for a young man to deal with. But I asked him, I said, bro, why you got so many different people around you? There's a couple of people missing. There's a couple of entities missing. I said, why ain't he there? Why aren't they there? Why aren't these people with you anymore? Why are you with all these new people? He said one thing to me. And I kept the conversation moving because that sent chills through my spine. Pause for all the people who like to get petty. He said, in direct response, when I asked about an individual, he said, Ak, the reason why so-and-so ain't around me, that person is a government informant. They're an FBI informant. I said, what the fuck? I've never heard that. I said, whoa, yo, chill, whoa. I've never heard him even mention the feds like that. But then he went on to tell me, he said, yeah, I just found out recently. I don't know who I could trust. Basically, so-and-so got picked up by the feds, and because of their immigration status, yeah, they're flipped. They flipped on me. We found out I had to fire them. Now, he had that story for other people too, but it was pretty much very shocking when he said it to me. Now, I kind of took it, and I never said anything about it. Then I'm like, yo, this nigga might be losing it. He's just calling whoever an informant, right? Now, again, I'm not around him like that. He was in Dubai for like 3 months. I wasn't around him like that to figure out like, oh, yo, maybe he did see real signs. I'm thinking he's losing it a bit. Come to find out in court today, he was 100% right. If you guys don't know, his driver admitted on the stand in open federal court today that he was a confidential informant, that he was working alongside the feds to help take down 6ix9ine and other members of Treyway, that he basically had flipped way before 6ix9ine knew, and then admits that 6ix9ine found out, and that's why they may have separated. Now, again, 6ix9ine's off the stand, but this is the third government witness being called in. Let's keep track of the people who have been called in thus far. The girlfriend of one of the guys accused, supposedly that's Harv's ex-girlfriend or a girl he was donkey fucking, you feel me? She was called in to testify. She testified certain things. Second was 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine testified, of course, a lot. Now is the driver. Now, I'm going to read the transcript of basically what the driver said, but it goes to show, and I really preface all of this by saying, we are looking at headlines a lot and just making quick jokes, and that's cool, but never get it twisted. It's not only 6ix9ine who's sinking this criminal organization, quote unquote. There's mad niggas who's telling. There's mad people who have been squeezed by the government and they're now cooperating. In fact, I've said this before, I think 6ix9ine might have been one of the last people to get flipped. And they realized he was at the point of getting flipped when they realized that other people were trying to kill him, or at least talk about killing him. So they knew they could lock him up and the others, and then it's easy to tell somebody to flip on their homies or past homies when you say, bro, they're about to kill you. Now, before I get into this, once again, I want to throw this question out there. I gotta be, listen, this is not a typical video. I want to throw this question out there because I don't look at this individual like a snitch, but it's very complicated, if you ask me. This individual who's the driver, he ain't Treyway, he ain't a gang member, he ain't signed up for robberies, he ain't signed up for shootouts, he ain't signed up for none of the malarkey that these guys were allegedly doing. So when he gets caught up into some stuff, and he's getting threatened with deportation and all that type of stuff, keep in mind, it seems like he's an immigrant. They might have some immigration problems, right? Despite the fact that what's feeding your family is this job of driving for 6ix9ine, are you going to then go back to your home country and stand tall? Or you're going to cooperate? Again, a lot of people say with 6ix9ine, what he's doing is snitching, no matter if they try to kill him or not, because he was a gang member, he was a part of the life. The driver didn't sign up for that. He signed up to drive. Now, let me read it. So, basically, the guy's on the stand. His name, I think everyone knows it by now, but I'll try to refrain from saying it. The AUSA, which is the assistant U.S. attorney, asked him, was there another shoot in the same night? He said yes, and I don't know what night they're talking about. They kind of skip around. Apparently, like, after the videos and, like, the videos that emerge from the courtroom and the audio that emerged from the courtroom, pretty much everybody is getting, like, clamped down on in terms of tweeting stuff out. So we're not getting full tweets anymore, really. So they asked him, they said, was there another shooting that night? The answer was yes. It says, what happened? He says, we heard people walking towards us, and they started shouting. The next question is, what happened after the gun went off? It says the police started searching for us. When the police frisked me, they didn't find anything. They might be talking about the Barclays incident. I'll do a whole video on that soon. But then the next question is, I want to switch gears. What's your immigration status? Did it come a time you were arrested by ICE? ICE is the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. The guy says, the driver says yes. Then the question is, while you were detained, did you speak with law enforcement about cooperating? Again, he said yes. So essentially, let me just paint what's going on. You're the driver for 6ix9ine. And by the way, I've always wondered this. And if you're wondering who are like the people who are cooperating, or some of y'all just call everybody cooperating snitches. If you're wondering who the people cooperating in this case, think about the people who were around him when crime was happening and ask yourself, where are those people now? Now, if they're locked up, they are clearly charged. They might be taking a plea or whatever else. But if they never got locked up or they're missing, yes, they're probably government witnesses. Okay? Now, if you were a driver, technically, like, let's get out of this case for a second. If you're a driver and you're driving a bunch of people to shootouts, robberies, everything that's criminal related, the driver gets charged too, whether it's an accessory or part of the main crime. If you're the getaway driver after somebody just hopped out the car and just bust a bunch of shots in New York City, yeah, you're getting charged too. So possibly you could be in jail yourself even though you ain't signed up for it. So exactly why when the cops approach you with not only deportation but possibly new charges, trying to throw you into the mess and you're not a gang member, what are you going to do? Again, even though a car service is a little bit different than Uber, I try to liken it to, imagine you're doing Uber and somebody Ubers you to their ops block, shoots out the window real quick and tell you to drive off. They get caught and basically they find out you were the driver and they say, yo, we could charge you too unless you tell us what the heck that dude was saying or doing in your car. Now, let's get back on topic, right? He said he was detained by ICE and he spoke with law enforcement about cooperating. And then the question then asked, when you were released, did you start driving for 6ix9ine again? He said, yes. He said, are you a confidential informant, right? Or as a confidential informant. And the judge took a break because the judge, again, they're trying to protect witnesses here. They're not trying to, like, have people say stuff that's going to really get them killed or whatever else. But also, like, they're trying to tell the prosecutor and even the defense attorneys, like, yo, have a little bit of respect. You know the perception of witnesses and people who cooperate in this country. You can't just have them admit in open court they're confidential informant. You kind of get already from the tone and from certain things they're saying that they are, right? So the judge took a break. Then they came back. Then the question was, hey, was there a camera installed in your car? The answer was yes. He said, was it recording? Yes. Now, that was the recording that was given to everybody, which was the kidnapping. But then the judge says, listen, hey, the witness is testifying a lot about the thought process of 6ix9ine. So I'm guessing maybe he was recapping the moments of what 6ix9ine was thinking. And the judge is like, yo, you can't tell us what 6ix9ine was thinking, even as a driver. Just tell us what happened. Now they pause. They said, do you know where Park Slope is, where Andrew lived? Then they're like, hey, listen, what did you tell him at 1 minute? So they're analyzing the video. And of course, the driver says, oh, I was telling him that the car was hit from behind. And he says, and why were you going to or let them go? And it was like, hey, and the judge jumps in to say, why does the camera angle change? Now, this is going to be somewhat of a point of discussion in this case, because previously the government admitted that they put cameras in this guy's car. And you would assume it's without his knowledge, but if you now know he's a government informant or a confidential informant, that's with his knowledge, right? So they probably hooked it up like a fucking bait car. The car was bait car, okay? Now, if you look at the whole footage of like this kidnapping or carjacking, whatever you want to call it, they got mad camera angles. The audio is great. I mean, the audio is better than what I used to record YouTube videos, right? So pretty much there's a lot going on. So they asked him, did you have 2 cameras installed in the car? He says, yes, one's always pointing ahead. Remember, I used to work for a car service. My customers, they were always recorded. Then they say after you walk back to the car, where they point the gun, and the driver says at my head. Then they asked, like, hey, did you make a recording on whatever date of 6ix9ine and shot? He said, yes. He said, listen, what is your understanding that the government will do in exchange for your cooperation? He says they'll give me a letter saying all the good as well as the bad things that I've done. By the way, this letter is the 5K1 letter that 6ix9ine is going to get. So pretty much I'm guessing that they're saying that he's exempt from prosecution, and probably that letter will save him in a immigration court in terms of obtaining a visa, and he could present that letter to say, I have cooperated with the government in a case that I was either the victim in or I was a witness in, and for that, I should be not deported, right? So that happens, then there's a cross-examination, right? And now they're getting a cross-examination, and essentially they're saying, this is a defense attorney saying, hey, are you aware that 6ix9ine had a bunch of radio and social media appearances on July 22nd and 23rd, right after supposed kidnapping? Then he said, no, this was the only Instagram video that he saw. I'm not too sure what video they're talking about. Anyway, they start bringing up the Angie Martinez interview, and he said he started watching it, never finished it, and they said, did at any point you tell 6ix9ine that you were cooperating with the law? And he said no, he never told him, right? And then the next question was, do you think he started to suspect you of cooperating? And he says yes towards the end. Now, if you add that to what I said at the beginning, it looks like 6ix9ine kind of figured out some shit and fired him, okay? By the way, keep in mind, 6ix9ine's house got raided. A house that not too many people were in, right? So if there's only a couple people that frequented a house that you were in and they got raided and they found a gun and they found stolen items, one of those people who would be in that house probably told the cops what was there, number one. And number two, where it was at. So again, Just to let y'all know, it appears that this is the third person who's working with the government in some capacity. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if there's much more, if some others don't take the stand, but it's very interesting that this is what's coming out in public court, and you're getting to realize that, hey, a lot of these guys, they're cooperating and speaking on the stand solely because they want to make sure they could make it home. They want to make sure that for whatever reason, they could actually not get locked up because they didn't either do anything or they feel that's their best way to limit the time they get locked up for. Okay? So whether it's the ex-girlfriend or 6ix9ine or even the driver. But keep in mind, there are more people who cooperated as well. Again, I ain't say 6ix9ine helped sink the ship, but trust me, that joint was leaking already. All right? Get in the comment box. Make sure you guys like them, subscribe. I'm going to keep you guys updated. I got another video coming up. I got some more shouty updates. Some stuff is going to shock you. Maybe not in a bad way. I don't know what you think is bad or good. But I got some shoddy updates. I'm going to do a breakdown of the video of the Barclays and a couple other things that's coming out. All the information is leaking out of court. We're not in court watching this play by play, and we only saw like a video, like short video of 6ix9ine on the stand. But it feels like we're there, don't it? It feels like we're actually in court, and we're not in court. This is the O.J. Simpson trial of hip hop. You guys can comment, make sure you guys like, definitely subscribe. Okay, go follow me on Instagram right now and comment that you just watched this video. All right, it's your boy DJ Akademiks.